Hi, my name's Tobin Richardson. I'm CEO of the Zigbee Alliance based in Northern California, and I'm really honored today to talk to Dr. Su, who is chair of the Zigbee Member Group China and based in Shanghai. So Dr. Su, thank you so much for taking time to talk about your experiences with the Zigbee Alliance. And as part of our 5 days of Women in Leadership, I'm so honored to take the time with you. First, maybe you can share a little bit about your background and where you are today.
Thank you, Tobin, for spending time with me for this very nice 5 days for women. As I mentioned, I'm Wilma Su. In Chinese, maybe many Chinese know my name with my Chinese name, Su Weiming. As you mentioned, I'm based in Shanghai. I work for Signify for more than 15 years. I'm also working with the Zigbee Alliance for more than 5 years. In Signify, my focus is also on standardization and regulation in that domain for also 15 years. The topic I involved is quite broad. It's not only about lighting, about the IoT, but also the 3D, for example, 3D TV, digital right management, even wireless power, the Qi standard, and also codec standard. And also I'm very lucky that before 5 years ago, I came involved in the Internet of Things type of standardization. I also joined Zigbee Alliance.
Yeah, it's been great to work with you the last several years, and you've done tremendous work for the Alliance and Signify. Maybe you can share a little bit about your earlier background and what interested you about technology in the first place.
People are always curious why women are interested in technology, huh? For me, I think it's not a question because at my very young age, in the middle school, I was excellent in the math, on the math. So technology is a very nature choose for me. There's always saying that if your math is good, and then you need to choose technology in future, huh? And also at that time, I had a very good opportunity. I can enter Tsinghua University, which is the top university in China, without examination. So it's very nature for me to choose tech, actually, to choose computer science at that time, which is very advanced technology at that time.
Yeah.
And also subject at that time. So yeah, because at that time there's not much student choose that subject. So because the application is not so clear to people. It seems it's just a computing because it's a computer science. It's just computing, and the application is was not aware by people. But for me, it's interesting. So I just choose the computer science.
And what was your first job? What was it like? Your first job as a woman in technology at that time, and that was in the early 90s.
Yeah, you're right. It's not normal for women to choose technology at that time, especially for the computer science. It's also was also advanced at that time. For me, because I graduate from that major, from that subject, so after university study, it's very nature for me to choose a job in computer science. Yeah, my first job was the software engineer in an institute in China. I got a very good colleague, very good mentor in that institute, and also received a very good project which is sponsored from the government. And I was aware of the power of software to support the national level project. So it was really cool.
As you move from computer science into kind of the standard side and for and Internet of Things, standards, as I've discovered as well, you really need to have an understanding of a broad view of technology and how things really integrate together. And especially with the Internet of Things, it's really complex, can be very complex. Where do you see kind of the product for markets? The product for the market for products rather over the next few years, and how do you kind of see the technology evolving and the market evolving for the Internet of Things?
Yeah, you're right. Standard really complicated. When I moved from software to standard in Signify at that time in Philips, I was lucky that I entered the department of IP and standard. So where I really aware of the power of standard. And then when I joined Signify for lighting and also the IoT, and I was aware that the IoT really creates a very bright future for people in the world. So if you talk about the future, I think definitely the IoT product will really become the one part of our life. As I mentioned just with you just now, maybe in future, in a very close future, it's not necessary for us to learn other language. We can use the machine. It's also part of the internet product. Right now, in the past, when we talk about the Internet of Things product, it's very narrow. It's only about the devices, a dumb device, which is not so smart. They just connect each other. That is the Internet of Things product. But now I think if you talk about the IoT product, we always talk about not only that dumb devices, but also smart devices. If they connect each other, and they can create much more value, much more application for people. So definitely it's with very bright future.
Awesome. Speaking of that bright future, when you were leaving school and into that first job, there were not, leaving your bachelor's in the 80s and your PhD in the early 90s. That was a time when there were, like you said, very few women in technology globally, especially in computer science. So it was great you had a mentor you mentioned. What else was that like early on in that time frame? And what are some of the challenges you had to overcome as a woman in technology at that time?
I never thought that question. I think because I never think there's any block barrier for especially women to do technology. Maybe the environment I was in doesn't give that blocks for women, because maybe for my family, my parents never mentioned that you cannot do that, you cannot do this, do that. You can do everything you want. It's also the reason is I'm lucky enough to be in a very good environment.
Yeah. Switching topics a little bit, maybe you could talk about what is the Zigbee member group China, and how did it get started, and what are its priorities now, and why is it important for you to be charging that effort and really leading the work there?
Member group China is a branch organization of Zigbee Alliance in China. At the early year, the major task of this organization is to do the promotion of the Zigbee technology in China. At the early stage, Zigbee, although Zigbee was popular globally, but in China, someone know, but no one was familiar with the Zigbee standard and technology. And then also there's a lot of rumor about this standard. So at that time, because Signify, my job, where I work, Signify really takes the opportunity to choose Zigbee as a very good protocol for our product. And it's really necessary for us to educate or to communicate with the local industry to say, hey, what is the Zigbee? Why it's really useful for IoT? So at that time, we organized such an organization with, of course, with people who really have a common sense with me. So that's a basic target for Zmdc. That is promoting Zigbee technology in China.
What do you hope the Zmdc will do next?
Well, of course, to promote Zigbee technology, maybe not Zigbee technology, but also other technology developed by this alliance, is still the target of this organization. So, of course, in a recent discussion among the Zmdc members, we also had a vision that we also need to invite the Chinese company involved in the standardization activities of the alliance, because they do need some voice from China market, and also do need some market requirement from China, because China is so big market. There's also very special market requirements. So that's also a contribution from a Chinese company to this standard, to this alliance. So in the next step, besides continually promoting ZB technology, standard of ZB Alliance, we will also invite the Chinese member to involve in the standardization activities.
Super. Yeah, it's only truly global if everybody's involved. So it's great. Yeah, it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
How would you describe the views of women in technology in China?
Well, in China, I think the women involve a lot in technology. Maybe 30 years ago, there are still some concern that women need to involve in non-technology part, in literature, but recent years, there's no such any voice. The government always encourage women to involve in everywhere you can do, your interest. So the equal of the men and women is really embedded in every mind of Chinese. So I don't think there's any block for Chinese women in technology.
For you, which is great. Yeah.
At least for me, it's not concern. But maybe some women in their mind says, maybe I'm not good at technology. I think that for men, there's also such concern, right? That's same.
Yeah. And just a kind of a couple of wrap-up questions, and what is motivating and exciting for you in technology?
For me, it's about the curious. I'm always curious about the new things. So technology always give you new things which trigger your curious, meet your curious. For me, it's a very, very fundamental trigger things to reach technology.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you talked about the ability to impact everybody's lives with Internet of Things, and I know that's a passion that you and I both share and have talked about before, how wide-reaching this technology is and how it can really improve the human experience. So it is very exciting.
Yeah, you're right. Because the technology developed so quick and it's always give a lot of surprise about our better life. I'm very proud to be a part of this. And I know what is the most advanced technology, and really can maybe not predict, but it's with a very good vision, very good hoping, say how the future technology will be, and very happy to see that happen. So that's also motivate.
Yeah, that's a great motivation, I think.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for women looking to get involved in technology today?
For my side, don't think too much. Just follow your heart. If you like, and then you can do that. Don't give any definition to say, hey, you can do that, you can't do that. I think if you follow your heart, and then you can, it's very nature for you to get involved in technology.
That's great. That's great advice. So I really appreciate it. Well, Dr. Su, thank you so much for spending time today. And it was always great to catch up with you, and it's nice to do a video conference. So thank you again so much. Thank you for so much for your leadership and your vision as well.
It's also my pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with me.